Hey everybody, it's Romania Black. This seems warranted because we just had last episode. I watched it last night. I watched Declaration of War last night. And no regrets watching episode 6 tonight. I've been doing that a lot with this season. I've watched an episode and then like a day or two later watched the next because one, I'm trying to stay ahead of spoilers, and two, this season's addictive. This season 4 is addictive. I have never wanted to binge more than watching this season. And I know I don't need to do that because there's so much going down in between each episode. I'm like, I need to process it. But after last episode, you can't just end like that and expect me to wait. Especially if I know the episode's right there. So this is the infamous rule of 6, right? We'll have it again in part 2. But Isayama, I'm going to take a sip of this. It's apple wine. It felt appropriate. Appleseed, Reiner, Bertolt. Yeah, it felt appropriate. But anyway, we have the rule of 6. Every 6th episode of Attack on Titan has been amazing or has been revolutionary. Episode 6 of season 1, you had Mikasa, the girl who saw the world. A game-changing episode, changed the whole rules. Eren supposedly got eaten, changed the whole thing up. Then you had episode 6 of season 2, Warrior, case in point. Episode 6 of season 3, part 1 was Sin. Episode 6 of season 3, part 2 is Midnight Sun. So you see a trend. And then there's this episode coming up. This is the 6th episode of part 1. So, we're not halfway there yet. So I feel like the season still, it's not flying by, which I'm happy about. But we're almost to the halfway point, but not there yet. We still got 2 more episodes after this, so that's good. But yeah, I've got some notes. Episode 3 came out on Patreon, and episode 1 and the recap and review came out on YouTube. I'm glad you all enjoyed that. I was personally embarrassed by how long that was. When I started recording the recap, I'm like, oh, it'll probably be like 3 hours, like part 1. And it became a monster. So I don't even want to think about the part 1 recap for this season. I don't even want to think about it. I'm not even going to, not even going to think about it. I need to start doing some notes for it though, because it's 16 episodes worth. So it's going to be insanity, but I'm not worried about it right now. So there we go. But I do have some notes from those episodes that I want to talk about before we start whatever is about to happen. So I do want to note that Ian noted on Patreon that in the Distress OVA, and Distress was like my least favorite OVA, but I'm glad you pointed this out, Ian, that Reiner tells them in the OVA not to give up and to continue the mission to save Historia. So it's like foreshadowing, even as far back as season 1, about Reiner being completely dedicated to the mission. Like as far back as season 1, there's Reiner's foreshadowing. And then now his mission is protecting Falco, I hope. I hope him and Falco are okay, and about others keeping their resolve. I just want Falco to give Reiner a hug. That's all I want. I want Reiner to get a hug at some point in this season. He needs it. If anybody needs a hug in this season, it's Reiner. And I am also so afraid that Falco is going to be corrupted because of Eren's betrayal to him, or what he thinks is Eren's betrayal. I don't want Falco to get corrupted and like become like Reiner and be so broken. So I'm hoping that Reiner speaks to Falco and breaks the cycle so that Reiner doesn't become like him. But it's just so frustrating. CW, I'm glad CW noted this as well, that Bertolt's sleeping position in episode 3 is actually the position of the Hanged Man tarot card. I'm like, oh, fascinating, because it's tied together. And it said that in that tarot card, it's derived from punishment that was used for traitors in Sicily. And that it also symbolizes sacrifice and wisdom. And I thought that was really cool because not only does it tie to the Hanged Man story, but the whole sacrifice and wisdom ties to Armin. Armin in Hero sacrificed himself and used his wisdom to overcome Bertolt, who became like the Hanged Man. And then Armin becomes the Colossal Titan. So it's crazy, right? Crazy stuff. Thespian Mask, oh my god, saying that Reiner is now hot and he is the Amour Titan. He's not the Armor Titan, he's the Amour Titan. And I was like, oh my god, that's amazing. I want a shirt that says Amour Titan and it's like Reiner with heart eyes. Like, that's all I need. It's all I need in life. Algum talked about, this was actually really sad, that in the data books, pre-time skip, Reiner was 209 pounds. But in post-time skip, he had grown an inch, but he only weighed 183 pounds. Like, the dude's lost 20 pounds in the course of 4 years and gained an inch. And muscle weighs more than fat, so dude has, like, spiraled a bit. As we've seen, he's been spiraling. And that's really sad, actually. Again, he needs a hug. Christopher Peterson talked about that kind of a weird tie-in is that in both trios that we see, where it's Armin, Eren, and Mikasa, and it's Reiner, Bertolt, and Annie, Christopher Peterson noted that in both trios, the girls are the ones that are kind of left out. Like Annie and Mikasa are kind of left out of the dreams of the other two male characters. And Annie, Christopher notes, is kind of more self-imposed. Like Annie chooses to be more left out. She kind of wants to be solo by herself, but Mikasa gets left out in the same way. And I thought that was fascinating because even in prior seasons, there's always been like kind of an animosity and kind of tension between Annie and Mikasa, which is funny because Annie and Mikasa may have more in common than they realize, just like Eren and Reiner have more in common than they realize. So it's all the parallels, right? And also noting that with the Kinney thing, because I was confused in episode 3 about the whole Kinney-Annie scene, and Christopher noted that it seems like Kinney had made a promise to Kutchel, whether it was unspoken or spoken, but a promise that he wasn't going to sleep with any women because he didn't want to father any children like Levi. He didn't want any people. He didn't want to basically father a child in the world that existed around him. Relatable, right? So I thought that was interesting. It also is fine because I can, once I become free of my cave, I can read all of the Kinney and Uri fanfiction and there's no worries about a kid there. So fun times. But I thought that was interesting and that makes a lot of sense. And it also sadly ties back to episode 10, Friends, where Kinney is like, I didn't deserve to be a father. And it's like, just wave upon wave of pain, And so then Sacha Purvis had some really cool comments with episode 3. Sacha, I'm going to point you out here. The line said by Annie in episode 23 of season 1, where she says, personally, if it means being a weakling, swept up in the flow, being seen as a person is all I want. And Reiner in episode 6 of season 2 said, if only I knew people were like this, I wouldn't have become such a half-assed piece of shit. And then Bertolt in season 2, episode 11 says, someone please find us. So it was basically these 3 kids that had just grown up and under the worst circumstances, and they just wanted to be found and seen as people and be able to see the world as others thought they were. And it's like, it's awful. And I've heard some people say that they had it a little bit rougher than our main trio. And yeah, Mikasa lost her mother and her father, which is really tragic, and Eren too. But up until that circumstance, up until, they were around 10 or 11 years old, up until that point, they had a pretty good childhood compared to Reiner, Annie, and Bertolt, who had a really shit childhood. And it's like, just being called spawn of the devil, being raised to be these weapons, like it being tools, it's pretty terrible. I'm also noting that Reiner's mother commits the sin that Grisha committed on Zeke. Again, we tie in Reiner and Zeke together. Grisha committed the sin of trying to impose his beliefs upon Zeke. Reiner's mother has spent her entire life projecting her beliefs upon Reiner. It's the sin of the parent doing that to their child. And yeah, absolutely, that has been what has happened. So that was really cool. And then finally, I was questioning about Eren not regrowing the leg. And Sacha noted that back at Utgard Castle, in episode 4 and 5 of season 2, Reiner had his arm injured by the Titan, but he didn't instantly heal it. He waited until Warrior when he made that big spiel and then he healed the arm itself. So you can will your injuries to not be healed. You can will it. So that makes a lot of sense. I'm like, thank you. That explains how Eren was able to do it. It all makes sense. So yeah. But yeah, those are the comments I got. I'm pretty excited. I'm pretty terrified. Again, as I said going into this episode, Eren is pretty much, there's been a declaration of war. Eren's gone apeshit and messed stuff up. I don't know what's going to happen. I want to check in and see what Zeke's doing, but I don't know. It's anybody's game. So I'm pretty excited to find out, y'all. I hope you all are too, but we've talked for 10 minutes. Let's do this, shall we? We are going to start episode 6 of season 4, part 1, and we are going to do that here in 3, 2, 1. Let's jam. I'm kind of stunned. Wow, I'm kind of stunned. Okay. Well, where do I even start? I don't know. This episode, episode 6, it does it every time. Bring out your dead. We had a lot of dead this episode. God. Sophie and Udo. Calvi, Willy's dead. I'm buddy. So, okay. This is the hard part about this episode, because we should, if it were seasons 1 through 3, we would be rooting for Eren and Levi and all of them. And I'm so glad they showed up. But this episode showed just how much difference perspective can make. Because I'll be honest, the moment that Gabi looked up and saw Sasha, I felt this giant stone of dread just sink to the bottom of my stomach. Because at that moment, you suddenly realize the other side's perspective in a war. And it's absolutely heartbreaking, because under any, for 3 seasons, we followed the Levi squad, and we followed them, and they were our protagonists, and we rooted for them. We rooted for them. We didn't see Armin in this, oddly enough. We did not see Armin in this. I'm curious where he went. But he's the Colossal Titan, so he's probably staying out of sight until the last minute. I'm sure that they're not going to pull out the Colossal Titan unless it's absolutely necessary. But we've, for 3 seasons, rooted for them. And in this episode, I was happy to see everybody, especially like Levi and Jean, our King Jean, and God, Flock's with them. Flock's part of the Levi squad now, because we're going to talk about Flock. Holy shit. Oh my God. Well, every time Flock shows up, I'm like, we're going to talk about Flock. We're going to, because there's developments that have happened. Okay, so, God, but this episode, I wanted to root for them. But I couldn't, because Udo's dead, and Sophie's dead, and Gabi is traumatized, and Falco is probably traumatized, and Reiner's buried under the rubble, and you've come to know these characters for the last 5 episodes, and you've come to sympathize with them, and to grow on them, and then suddenly they're being attacked, and you suddenly, it's a mind melt, because suddenly you're like, who's the enemy? Who knows? Ymir, wise beyond her words. Who knows who the enemy is, right? It just depends on your perspective. I wanted to be really happy. I'm glad that Levi saved them at the last minute. I was like, oh, Levi. I don't like Galliard, so maybe that's why I was okay when Levi just chopped his jaw. But in that moment, like when Gabi looked up at Sasha, I was like, Sasha, don't you shoot her. Don't you dare. And I'm like, oh. And it was heartbreaking, because in that moment, Sasha looked like a monster to Gabi, because that's what they're going to view them as. That parody looks like monsters. And the thing of it is that, Marley, it's so bizarre, right? Because Marley's had such a hands-off approach in all this. Yeah, they sent Reiner and them to go and attack the island, right? But at the end but Marley didn't send a whole fleet of troops, which again, this is just the Levi squad. So, but it's so weird seeing it reversed. It's bizarre. And it's like you want to feel happy that you're seeing the Levi squad there. But then, again, the color symbolism, them all in black. And I know it's to make them, look, move better in the night and everything and be less noticeable. But they're in all black. And the Marleyans are in all white, the color symbolism. And then they have, the ODM gear that's been adapted. The ODM gear that was for the anti-personnel squad. That's been adapted for this scenario. Because they're not fighting Titans. Well, they could be if Zeke shows up. Wherever Zeke has been. But there's that. And, yeah. Holy shit. The Warhammer! The Warhammer! What the hell? Looking like an angelic monster? The Warhammer design may be my favorite Titan design of the whole show. I freaking love the Warhammer design. The armor, it's this skin suit armor and the bars over its mouth and eyes. The bars, and then it just manifests the weapons out of its armor. Freaking badass. It's just such a cool design. And yeah, it's the maid. I was like, of course, but it's his sister. Not just the maid, it's his sister. Tybur's sister is the Warhammer. Of course, they wouldn't entrust it to anybody. It's Tybur's sister, which explains why a bunch of the kids look like him. Because when he was saying goodbye to all the kids, I was like, they kind of look like the maid. Is she like, has he been illegitimately sleeping with her? But no, unless this is like a Cersei and Jaime Lannister thing, I don't think so. But wow, this episode, it's like Isayama, the last 2 episodes, 4 and 5, there was a lot thrown in mystery. And this episode gives a lot more context to what's going on. And I'm like, oh, okay. Gotcha. This all is making sense now. But, yeah, I'm sure Armin is in hiding. If he's the Colossal Titan, they're going to be... But, Eren's out there like Ash Ketchum trying to get all the badges. We're going to collect all the Titans. I'm like... And that's another thing. Mikasa says, come home. So, again, we're going to talk about this. But... so there's some fascinating developments in all this. And I feel like part of me is like the Levi squad just came to help Eren because it's Eren and because they need him back. And they didn't want him to go to Marley in the first place. But Eren's like, gotta go. And Flock? We're gonna talk about this. This episode floored me. And this is just the start of it all. But I'm heartbroken watching this. This is like... You get an adrenaline rush, but at the same time, your heart is breaking because Marley has just been thrown upside down, and the intention to make them all victims. Damn, to make the world sympathetic towards the Eldians of Marley. That it's Parody Island that's the problem. Wow. Okay, we're gonna talk about this. I'm floored, y'all. I'm floored. This episode is one of my favorites of the season, and I'm floored because... What do we say? What can we say? It had so much action, but there was all this stuff going on at the same time too. So I do want to make a note. At the very beginning of this episode, we have the toys. We have the toys in there. We have the book. We have the train. We have the dice. We have the doll. We have the little top spinner and everything. It seems like maybe artifacts of episodes prior. Like you had the midnight train. You had the book. You have the doll and the dice. Like it just seems like it's intentionally done. But I also want to make another note. In Eren's dream, back in episode 1, there were red and green curtains in like a royal baby crib. And the moment I saw this collection of children's toys, I thought of the baby's crib. I thought of what he saw back in the past, in his dream. So if Eren eats the Warhammer Titan and ends up eating them, then if that ends up happening, then could it be that all the memories, because he would inherit the memories of that Titan, right? And I'm thinking that if these are all connected through the coordinate, and there's like something that transcends time and space, like you can see visions of the future, things like that because like Kruger foresaw Armin and Mikasa, even though he didn't even know who they were, could it be that Eren does end up eating the Warhammer Titan and gains these memories of like the children and everything in his head? It was just like that moment. I was like, right there in the moment, but crazy talk. So Willy says your father needs to get going. Be good kids and listen to your big sister. Because yeah, there's like 4 little baby kids and a big sister. They all look like there's a little tiny baby. The blonde one looks like it's the youngest. It looks like a little Willy, and it looks like the youngest. But the other 3 look like triplets. Like maybe there's 3 together, like they're triplets, and they look like the wife. Why are you going? Don't leave. Oh. And then he gets really emotional and says, I'm afraid not this time. And him hugging all of his kids and the grandparents. The grandparents know. So the fact of the matter is that Willy thought that there was going to be an attack. That it was too good to pass up. Right? So let's start with this. We're going to start with old Willy. R.I.P. Willy, officially dead, eaten by Eren. Holy crap. Because Eren probably thought he could have been the Warhammer, so he's like, let's just eat him and get it over with. Ha! So yeah, eaten by Eren. Fun times. Good on ya. But he knew there could be an attack. Right? We're going to talk about this. He knew there could be an attack. And he was ready to go. He was fully expecting to die. And that's why the grandparents look sad. Because they know that he's probably going to die with this. That it was all a big trap. Right? And the sister who has the mom's nose, she's like, don't be selfish. You're making it hard for him. And Fine Fine, make sure the kids all get along. Like, Fine is a lot older. Like, she's a much older sister. So, Fine is his daughter. Fine Tybur. All right. Okay. Ugh. Oh, my gosh. And then, yeah, she has the mom's nose. And he says, I'm going to head out. Huh. And they have no clue. And then, yeah, the wife. And it's kind of sad because he, like, embraces his wife and he says he's sorry and to take care of the kids. And he's sorry to leave her. And Isayama, you're making me eat my words. You're making me regret my decisions. I thought Willy was this shady character. And I'm sure that there is a part of him that is kind of shady. But at the end of the day, he was a family man that loved his wife and children and was clearly good to them. And he died for them. And I'm like, damn, Isayama, why you gotta do this? Why are you making me realize these characters aren't terrible people? And yeah, his sister, let's go. So his sister going with him, right? And the guard dies. So red herring. He was in a big red coat. So of course it's a red herring. Of course it is. But yeah, so he says, I suppose if I'm attacked, it'll be during the speech. And Magath says, it seems most likely. So yeah, him and Magath, we're going to talk about him. Holy shit, Magath. I'm really liking Magath's character in this, honestly. This season making me like these Marleyan and Eldians on the Marleyan side. Why are you doing this, Isayama? Only then will most of our brass be gathered in one spot. Right. So, however, it's protocol to make escape plans at the last moment for security. So, like, keep the security plans in place, right? Naturally, VIPs will use carriages. Let's sit them on the special seats on the edge so they can get out faster. Clump them together as much as possible. And then that's what Magath. So Magath having second thoughts about all this. So you have Magath. Old Magath here. Magath having second thoughts about Willy, his sacrifice, right? So, God, this is so fascinating. Compared to our predecessors, the Tyburns haven't been playing around. We've been building relations with the world's elite. So yeah, he establishes that, like, unlike in the past, we have been improving the reputation of Eldians and watching Parody Island's movements. So improving Eldian reputation. So yeah, his whole point was proving that Eldians aren't bad. He's like, I was an Eldian, so I'm not bad, am I? And then watching Parody Island's movements. Apparently not that good, though. Apparently you weren't watching their movements very well because they all managed to get here. But yeah, we should have been watching our own backyard. So before we knew it, we had enemies crossing the sea and at our necks. So he's talking about not only with Parody, but with other places as well. Okay. So then there's somebody here. At this point, they may get sliced at any moment. So there's somebody there, but I'm like, is it Connie? It might be Connie. I can't exactly tell. They look like they had shaved heads, so it could have been Connie. It's the conspirators working with Parody I fear the most. So supposedly there are conspirators with Parody. Who is that? Who's the conspirator with Parody? I'm like, who are these? Is this like a neo-restorationist, maybe? So they suspect that there's some group conspiring with Parody, and they don't know anything about them, and that's why they fear them the most. I'm like, interesting. Okay. So yeah, we still don't know who they are, and that's why they're worried about it. Okay. As you know, our motherland Marley has many enemies. And I like that he's kind of like leaning into Magath as he said that. Like his body language is inviting to Magath. He said some in our own military. So wait, what did he just say there? Our motherland has enemies and some within our own military. Okay. So we'll smoke them out by lighting a fire under their asses. Okay. We can plan for their attack and use it to our advantage. So they were basically just smoking out the enemy for an attack. So this was all planned. It makes sense because I was like, you've gathered everybody into one location and it's so convenient, but it was intentional. It was to lure everyone into a trap. Right? And so, unless you have a better idea, we proceed as planned. Okay. Like, Willy thought all this out. And then, but Magath says, even if they take the bait, we lose too much. Too much is at risk. This is where this conversation gets really interesting. Really interesting. Because he's suggesting, he's like, and Willy's saying, well, we'll sacrifice incompetent officers. If the military's goal is, if the enemy's goal is to damage the Marley military, it's perfect. It's like, yeah, when you rebuild the military, the party will approve whomever you choose. So that's why when Willy said last episode, the military is yours, they're basically going to drain the swamp. And now that Calvi's dead, I can see Magath becoming the leader. Because Magath's like, I fired the first shot, remember that. And it's like, yeah, so drain the swamp and rebuild. He's like, if they're coming to fight our military anyway, get the incompetent ones out of the way and we'll just rebuild and you can do whatever you want. And no one in Marley will question you because of this attack, because it's necessary. It's genius. Genius. Mm-hmm. And then Magath said, so many will die. And then, but this is interesting because Magath is like, there's too much at risk. A lot of people that are civilians are going to die because Magath is thinking of war terms. In war terms, when you're fighting the enemy, it's different than when they're civilians. And Willy says, but most of them are Eldians. They're spawn of the devil. Yeah. And that look from Magath. Willy's like, are you questioning this? I love this. I love when he looks at him. And then he says, don't change on me now, Commander Magath. God, that look. You've sent countless Eldians marching into machine guns and landmines. Why does this matter now? Why does it matter whether they wear uniforms or not? Oh my God, just keep doing what you've always done. And that's when he closes his eyes. Oh, just keep the quo. The status quo. But in that moment, like when you saw Magath a few episodes ago looking into the internment zone, like Magath clearly does care, but he's so embedded in the system he can't do anything about it, or he doesn't feel like he can do anything about it. And Willy is the same way. He says, keep to the system. Because at this point, Willy and Magath are both so deep in the system that they both feel like they can't get out. It's kind of like Kenny and Rod Reese. You know, they're so far in the game, they don't see a way to get out in their current positions. That's the tragedy. God, and he just looks, and Magath's like, well, let me say one thing about this. This isn't war. We don't know the enemy, their goal, or how they will attack. You're not on a battlefield. You don't know the enemy's on the other side. This is like a guerrilla style attack. You have no clue what's going to be coming. Plus, the venue will be packed with a huge crowd. And then he says that, Lord Tybur, I doubt I'll be able to protect you. And Willy's face is so full of resolve in that moment. He's like, if you proceed, you will die. They won't pass you up as bait. And God, Tybur's like, I know. He's like, I'm prepared for that. I'm floored. I thought Tybur was this slimy character, but no, Tybur, he was prepared to die. Yeah. He was prepared to die. He didn't think there was a way out of it. He's like, unless I stand on that stage, people aren't going to care. They're not going to pay attention to us unless I'm the one that gives the speech. But he's like, the military, newspapers, ambassadors won't gather in one place unless I'm there. Right? Above all, the Eldians of the internment zone and I must be tragic victims. So he was setting this up. Setting the Eldians up to be victims. So in all this, the goal is to get the world against parity. And then the aim is that once parity is gone, then the other Eldians May. But here's the questionable part of it all. The questionable part, I'm going to put multiple question marks there. Because, yeah, Tybur has pretty much a win-win situation anyway. Either, I mean, if there wasn't an attack that night, his impassioned speech was already wooing the world to go to war against parody. So he was going to win the crowd over either way. But if there was an attack, you're in the liberation zone, the internment zone, Liberio. So lots of Eldians are going to die. Everybody's going to feel sympathy for the poor Eldians that were attacked. And Willy too. And so then they're going to go to war against parody. But the question is, at the end of the day, if parody's wiped out, so to speak, if parody's wiped out and the military has access to their fossil fuels and all that fun stuff there, then at the end of the day, what is going to happen to the Eldians that were left? Are they really going to get freedom? Or is Marley just going to go back to the way it was and keep using them the way that they were, only now they don't have an enemy? And I don't know. But the way that Willy makes it sound is like, yeah, things were going to stay the same. Because he said they were Eldians, spawn of the devil. So frustrating. So frustrating. Yeah. He's like victims of an unforeseen attack that they planned. If I am the sole survivor, then the world will not become our ally. Yeah. He's like, I have to die. Basically. And you can tell Magath is upset by that. And that's when Magath offers his hand. Magath offers respect and his hand to Willy. Like, you were willing to sacrifice yourself for the greater good. Mm-hmm. And he says, and God, I love this line. There's no doubt that Eldians are spawn of the devil. And there's no doubt that we are devils ourselves. Yep. And from one hand to another. God! Yep. They're all devils. Because, yeah. And this is so frustrating because Gabi and none of them know this. That's so frustrating because all of this was planned. And it was an attack that was planned. I'm sure they didn't see how crazy it was going to get with Eren, but they planned for an attack and they put it there so that Eldians would be victims, so that they would get killed, and so that it would make everybody look like a victim in Willy's family, and so that it would lead to war. It was a planned assault. It was all planned by devils. Ah! Isayama, you madman! Seriously, what? And then, yeah, he jumped. And, yep, and Magath looks sad that he's dead. Yep. And Magath is sad that Willy died. Which makes me feel a little bit bad for Magath. God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay, let me go back to this. Oh. So yeah. Oh, I need to go back. Hold on. But yeah. So then, yeah, the auditorium, everything is smashed. And God, that look of Eren. Eren looking at the crowd. If he didn't look terrifying before, he looks pretty terrifying now. Like just that shot of him with the eye and the light. Oh my God. Yeah, that's pretty much terrifying. Pretty much terrifying, indeed. Oh my God. Yeah, that's absolutely terrifying. I'm gonna take a picture of that because that may be a screenshot. It's pretty scary. I don't know. But, oh my God. And then we get to the OP. I don't know if we'll have an episode in this season where we skip the OP. Nobody said anything. Don't spoil me, but I'm curious about that, if that ends up happening. The Warhammer. God, the Warhammer Titan. Okay. Sure. Sure thing. So then, yeah, and then it's just chaos. It's just chaos and death and destruction. And I hate this. Again, Isayama, you're crafting an anti-war show indeed. Because this isn't fun. None of this is fun. This is all absolutely awful. and terrifying. And people are smashed by boulders. And then the military doesn't move, like, immediately. They don't move in, but he, like, charges right at them. And here's the thing. He goes right at them to destroy them. Calvi doesn't move. Calvi doesn't even, like, move an inch. Like, he just takes it. Oh, my God. So, yeah, Gabi and Udo. Oh, and Sophie. That rock just crushed Sophie. Like, just where she was standing. Like, she probably didn't even know it was coming. And Udo, like, tries to, like, get the boulder off of her. Like, this is awful. It's just awful. And meanwhile, Eren is just, like, wrecking things. And Colt is trying to get a hold of them. And, oh, my God. And all the people. And here's the thing. All the nobles, they run Udo over. So they just run him over. And Colt's like, it's like freaking the stampede from the Lion King. It's like, Colt's like Mufasa trying to save Gabi, and Udo like they're Simba, and the nobles are just trampling them. And that's a real threat. You know, you forget that a mob, like a mosh pit and like a stampede is a real threat. You forget that. But no, it's a real thing. It's horrible. And poor Colt. And Colt doesn't know where Falco is. Ugh. Yeah, and she's dead. Oh, and they can see it. And Udo just gets stomped. Just stampeded over. And poor Gabi, she's like just screaming. And then, yeah, that one soldier, he died. And the girl, and she survived. She was like Uri, the sister. So, the Warhammer is the sister that I thought was the maid. Yep. And so Sophia, she's dead by boulder. And poor Udo was stampeded over. Damn. And this girl, this woman, she says, "Brother, you fulfilled the Tybur's duty admirably." Damn. And then, yeah, and this whole thing from the ground up. So that's crazy. She put herself, like, in the ground, and the thing came up from the nape, like, in a tube to form the Titan. That's insane. That's absolutely insane. Like, what are you doing, Isayama? What is this? And yeah, just it coming up from the ground. And it looks like a damn celestial, like a dark angel, right? And I love that Eren's like, nope, not waiting for this thing to form. Let's just get hardening the hands, everything. Nope, nah. Not having it. But because it's not the nape, its nape is underground, it wasn't really doing anything. And so then Kozlo's there with Magath. And they're like, Calvi and the brass are dead. And Magath's showing that he's a leader in this moment. Where he fires off the shots. And Magath knew that the shots weren't going to do anything, but it was just a signal to tell them that there's been an attack. Right? It's the beginning of Marley's counterattack. Yeah. And it's also a symbol. He's like, to think that they'd make a grand entrance. But what more it looks to be the usurper of the founding Titan, the attack Titan. So that's interesting. The usurper of the founding Titan, the attack Titan. So suggesting that our attack Titan has taken the lead spot here. That the attack Titan, which is true. That's true. The attack Titan has ate the founding and kind of usurped over it. And it wants the Warhammer. Which of course it wants the Warhammer. The Warhammer is literally probably its biggest foe in all of this, right? If anything could stop Eren, it seems like it would be the Warhammer, because that power is insanity. And of course, that's why you wouldn't want to go on foreign soil. You wouldn't want it to go away, something that strong. No! That's Eren Yeager. Oh my gosh. And everybody's like, shit, he's here in person? And I love this. He's like, saves us a trip to the island. Yeah, Reiner, we're not going back to the island. The battle is here. The battle is in Marley. Like, seasons 1 through 3, we're all on parody. No. We're back in Marley for this jam. Okay. Sure thing. Yeah, and prepare for battle. Okay. Oh my gosh. Just crazy that Eren's trying to wreck it. And, Oh my gosh, and it using its power to create the spike. It was so crazy. I was like, but it didn't go through the nape, so we're fine. And it just did more damage. And that poor drunken guy, the drunken guy, he died too. I'm going to put him on the list of the dead. The drunk guy. The drunk guy from episode 4. That dude. Damn. And then just, the big spike with the thing. It's there's such a finesse and a dark beauty to all this. Because even the spike has little pillars of tiny spikes. It's very aesthetic. It's very, very pretty. It's a very pretty Warhammer Titan. And then Magath says, remember it, people. I'm the one who took the first shot. God, Magath. Yeah. He took the first shot. Magath is the only one that doesn't look like he's shitting his pants right now on Marley's army side. He's the only one that looks remotely brave. Everybody else is freaking out. Okay. But God, this is awful. It's like Shiganshina. It's a battlefield, but it's like Shiganshina. So it's a big parallel to Shiganshina, right? Except the difference is that these are adults fighting, not kids. Because if you think about it, Reiner and Bertolt, Annie and them, they were just children. They didn't know anything. So they were just fighting as kids would. Their job was to just destroy the gate. So what they do? They destroyed the gate. They had to destroy the other gate. So what they do? They just destroyed the other gate. But did they go around, did Reiner go around just assaulting random people? No, he didn't. And yeah, you could argue that what they did when Bertolt kicked in the wall, it did the same thing to Eren's house. It killed his mom, and there's people all around like there is now. But the difference is that it's an adult assault instead of kids attacking. I do think that makes somewhat of a difference, not a lot, but somewhat. I don't know. It's just this whole thing has a different vibe to it, right? And maybe it's because in episode 1 and 2 we hadn't spent that much time with Eren and Mikasa. We only spent a lot of time with them after the fact. And then we grew to kind of relate to them and empathize with them. But here, we've spent time with them, so we've grown to empathize with them. And now the battle is happening, and it's and just, Udo has a piece of his head missing. There is a piece of his head missing in this artwork. It is so graphic. Oh my God. And they're like, how's Udo? And Colt's like, yeah, he's pretty much dead. There's a big chunk of his brain missing. Oh my God. And they're like, he needs a hospital. And Gabi just, ugh. And Colt's like, shit, Falco, where are you? Yeah, I know that Reiner's kept him safe, but then we cut to Peak and to Porco, and they're like, what's going on? And Peak's like, well, I guess it sounds like Titans are fighting, to be honest. And it's like, Galliard, he's like, are you serious? And she's like, yeah, we're trapped down here for a reason, dumbass. We gotta get out of here. And then she says that the unit shows up. And good on Peak. Peak is not dumb. Peak was suspicious of Armin. And so that's why she planned the whole thing afterwards. She was suspicious of Armin, so she told her guys to trail him. I'm like, good on you, girl. She's smarter than she looks. And he's like, how'd they know? And she's like, I told him to follow since I thought Beardy was shady. And that was the whole deal. Yeah. Follow behind us. Mm-hmm. And then so a Titan attack during the speech. The Warhammer is fending it off. Okay. And so I like that it's interesting that Peak refers to her Titan in the third person. She doesn't say, where's my gear? She says, where's the cart's gear? Like it's not personable. And I guess the reason for that is that I guess they call them Cart and Jaw because that's the Titan form. And I guess it's to make it not personable because then eventually Peak is going to die. And these guys could very well be still in the military when she dies. So instead of saying, where's my gear, that attaches a personal side to it. She says, where's Cart's gear? Because then if she dies and it goes and the power transfers to someone else, they won't find it sentimental. It'll just be like, no, it's just the Cart's gear. And it just is whoever is the Cart, it belongs to them. So it's not something that they get emotionally and sentimentally attached to, if that makes sense. That's interesting. But yeah, And so they go to get the cart's gear. All right, in 10 minutes. And Porco's like, I'm going ahead. And that's when, oh my God, that's when you see the glimpse of the Levi squad, and Peak's like, you're kidding. There's no way. Yeah, honey, there is. Oh my God. And this is just, the Levi squad has never looked more badass, but at the same time, I feel so bad for Gabi and Falco and Colt. Like, I feel so, my biggest fear in all this is that it's like, Eren, what have you done? I'm going to talk about this, but I'm like, if you're trying to stop the cycle, this isn't how to do it. And I don't know how else to say it. I'm just, okay. So yeah, so we have our gear, our military squad. The Warhammer, just the design of the Warhammer is just freaking badass. And it can speak, and it has like a human face under it. A human face with the mouth and everything. Like, the hell? A human face like that? Okay, sure thing. And it can speak like the Beast Titan. So the Warhammer is very humanoid. And it can speak like the Beast Titan. That's good to know. It's very articulate. Interesting. So yeah, oh my God. And I just love it just manifests. It used like the lightning and manifests the hammer. Oh my God. And the giant Warhammer. Oh my God. It's so good. It's so badass. Like, and I like that it does kind of have like a female presence to it because it is the woman in it. And then yeah, oh my gosh. And the Warhammer just decapitates Eren's head, just knocks it off. But it is able to create spikes from underground, right? And I'm guessing that's because the nape was underground and it was an extension. It had that long tubular thing and it could extend the spikes out from it to come up on the ground by his feet. That's so interesting. No wonder Eren would want it. I'm like, I don't know if Eren needs the Warhammer Titan. That seems like it'd be very dangerous, right? Seems like a bad idea, especially with Eren right now. We're going to talk about this. So the anti-Titan artillery. So yeah, this is just, they've got the anti-Titan artillery. Ugh, I don't like this at all. But then yeah, Magath is like, we don't want to kill the Founding Titan. Killing the Founding Titan only postpones the problem. Because then it's going to be reborn to someone else, right? We don't want that. We don't want that, right? So they don't want to kill Eren. They want to have Eren eaten by the Warhammer. Which makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. So it makes sense that they were trying to lure Eren this whole time to parody to get eaten by the Warhammer. That makes sense. Because the Warhammer is basically your ruler of Marley. So what a fitting end to the Founding Titan to be reunited with the War Titan. The ones who conspired this whole jamboree, the ones who conspired this whole entire shit show was the Warhammer and the Founding Titan. It makes sense that one eats the other and they're combined together at the end. But the question is the Warhammer going to eat the Founding Titan or is Eren going to eat the Warhammer? That's the question, right? And I'm afraid of either way. So yeah, it only postpones the problem. We need to have the Warhammer to eat it. We're here to ensure that that happens. That is the goal. Okay. And then yeah, but then they make a note here. I don't think the Warhammer's trying to eat him. No, the Warhammer, she is emotionally compromised. She is like, you killed my brother. She's like Intego Mongoya from Princess Bride. Is like, you killed my brother, prepare to die. Like, she is in that mode. Like, she's like, I'm not here to eat you. I'm here to kill you. I love the Warhammer's look. It's so badass. It's so cool. And just the hands didn't even help. The hands didn't even block it. It just went through the hands, through the head. The Warhammer's a monster. Just like took the head off and everything. Nope. And then Eren pops out. And they're like, so that's Eren Yeager, this scrawny guy that needs a haircut. Oh! Yeah. Oh my God. And yeah, with the green eyes and everything. And I love that the Warhammer kind of looks like her, like has her gray eyes and like feminine features underneath the mask. I love it. And they just look at each other. Oh my God. And raising up the hammer. Oh. And they say it's really going to finish him off. I'm like, it's, yeah, you know. I love it. Usurper, Eren Yeager. I love he's still attached by the arms. The usurper. I love this. Do you have any last words? And I was like, what is he going to say? Because it's going to be something great, right? It's going to be something good. It's going to be something good. Eren's going to say something good. And then I love that he almost looks annoyed. He's just like, now or never, Mikasa. It's so good. This is so great. So badass. And Mikasa's MMA training has paid off. Girl is swole. Girl is thick. She is ripped. She's chopped her hair completely off. Like, oh, no way, man. And the Thunder Spears, the newly enhanced Thunder Spears are like, just with damn like propane or something. What the hell? Like 4 years, we've improved it just a wee bit. The technology has improved. And just, I love that scraping and blew the nape off. But it wasn't the actual nape. It was just enough. Girl did not skim MMA practice. She has been on it. And then here comes our Levi squad. Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 in the shadows. Or 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Looks like 9 or 10 plus Mikasa. Okay, so if we have our Levi squad, let me think of this. There could be others that are new that we don't know of. I'm assuming Hanji's with them, right? And we probably have Armin. And we probably have Levi. And then we have Jean. And then Connie. And then Sasha. And then we have Flock. And then Mikasa. So that makes sense. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. So it looks like there's more there that I don't know. So could be extra people there. Yeah, I want to try to pay attention now. Okay, yeah, there's some people of the Levi squad there that I don't know. There are some people there that do not have names. They are not, there's some faces I don't know of. But they have the Survey Corps emblem. So it's basically the anti-personnel gear that's been modified. The anti-personnel gear. Because they have the backpack things. Wow, what foreshadowing. What foreshadowing, right? The anti-personnel gear that was Kenny's whole thing. The anti-personnel gear and the Thunder Spears. And that kind of leads you to think that maybe they were planning on something with Marley way down the road, like some kind of defense thing, because the Thunder Spears were made by the military police to fight humans. Well, and they then modified them to be like for anti-Titans, but God, it's interesting. And like the flames are like that blue flame, but it's like kind of got a rainbow hue to it. It's crazy. The whole idea that they're all in black is interesting. That our Survey Corps are now in black. And it's like for stealth, but God, and their suits look so futuristic. A lot has happened in 4 years. That's for sure. That's for sure. It's kind of insane, right? It's kind of crazy. So much has happened in 4 years. And you have the representation of the Warhammer in like the armor makes it look like a white angel falling. And you have these like Parody Island, the Levi squad showing up in like all black, like a damn SS troop, like a Secret Service special ops group. It's crazy because they're framed like the villains in this episode. The Levi squad are framed like the villains. They're framed as the bad guys in this episode because they've come in and attacked Marley and they are the one that initiated the assault. And it's like, well, but you were about to declare war on them. So what did you think was going to happen? Right? What did you think was going to happen? And then Mikasa showing up beside Eren. Yeah. Girl's like not scrawny at all. He's like, you guys actually came. And she looks so sad. So we need to talk about this. We need to talk about this. And I need to switch whiteboard-kun over. Okay. So Mikasa does not look happy with Eren at all. And he said, you guys actually came. So maybe... did Eren know they were coming? He sent the letters out and hoped that they were. So did Did Eren do this as a solo trip from the start and left Parody on his own? I really want to know, and I know, don't spoil me. I know I'm going to find out in like a couple episodes, I'm sure. But I'm like, so he left on his own. And they were like, damn it, now we have to come find Eren. So he sent the letters, I'm assuming, but then where did he send the letters to? I guess they had made camp there, and he'd found out they made camp, so he's like, okay, I can send y'all a letter. And Jean was there on the island, so maybe he found out about Jean and was like, okay, they're here, so I can send him a letter. So when he said, you actually came, it's like, wow, really? And then Mikasa, talk about her, because she looks so sad seeing him. She's like, Eren, please, come home. Yeah. So, Mikasa asking Eren to come home. So yeah, Eren chose to come here, I guess, on his own. And everybody's like, why'd you do this? But since it's Eren and he's the founding titan, they have to protect him, right? And Eren doesn't say anything to that. And I'm like, dude. So we have the founding titan, and it looks like they have a sword. They have this thing that looks like a cross that's a sword. They have a crossbow. They have a hammer. Information available for public disclosure. The Warhammer Titan. The Titan inherited by the Tybur family and held by Willy's younger sister, Lara Tybur. Okay, so Lara Tybur is the Warhammer. Okay. Tomb Raider, Lara Tybur. All right. Says its body is encased in a white shell created by its extraordinary hardening ability. Furthermore, it can use that same hardening ability to construct any weapon it envisions. Its warhammer, crossbow, and whip, and a whip, are just a few examples from its arsenal of Titan-sized weaponry it wields to fight. Fascinating! Okay, I kind of love the Warhammer Titan. Interesting. So yeah, and then we have the chain of command is broken. Our military will be put to the test. So they're in a train, there's a train bringing troops down from the mountain. All right. Gotcha. And bring on the fleet to converge to the top of them with 30,000 soldiers. So bringing in the full fleet. Okay. I want Liberio surrounded. Don't let the founding titan or a single island devil escape. So they're basically trapped on the island. Okay. Have fun while it lasts. There's no future for you now. With this massacre, you just ensured that every major nation gets involved. So yeah, that's the thing. It doesn't sound like Mikasa and them knew what Eren was planning. But yeah, here's the problem. The problem is that now it really is like parody. Eren has made Parody the world villain. Right? And it's going to be them versus Marley in the world. And now it's like Eren has to get the other Titans because otherwise Parody's screwed. So of course Parody's going to probably help Eren and be on his side. But what do we do with this? What? I'm so... so curious. Yeah, the world will see the Eldian Empire as a threat, just like Willy planned. And this was part of Willy's plan. So it seems like Willy and Eren had the same plan, though. Willy's plan with Zeke is the same as Eren? Because, yeah, Eren, when Willy was giving that speech about him becoming the villain, Eren was totally fine with it. He was happy about it. He's like, yeah, I guess I'm the bad guy now. And I'm like, but you've just gotten the entire world against Parody. Like, what? We're going to talk about this, okay? Yeah. That's just like Willy planned. No one's going to let you live. But even they must have known this going into this. Well, yeah, right? I'm sure. But in Parody's defense, in the Survey Corps' defense, to play devil's advocate, if Parody didn't attack Marley, then they were going to attack them anyway. So it's like you're mad that Parody attacked first. That's essentially the deal. You're mad that Parody attacked you first when you weren't ready for it, but you were about to go to Marley. You were about to take Marley and go to war with Parody and assault them. So you were going to do the same thing, except now that it's not on your terms, you're not happy about it. But I'm going to talk about this. So I get both sides of it, right? And then Magath gets out. He manages to get out from the bomb. I was worried. I'm not ready for Magath to die yet because I still think his character has a lot more to do in this. So I wasn't ready for his character to die, but yeah. And then, yeah, all these troops come in and they say, you damn devils. And God, and I'm sure that was Jean knocking him out. Those morons. And then Flock shows up. So yeah, we have Flock and Jean. Are you going to burn the whole zone down? What part of keeping civilian casualties to a minimum don't you get, Flock? Our king! Our horse-faced king! He lives... He's got a chin hair, but it's okay. Our boy, our beautiful Jean. He's here, y'all. Our king has arrived, and he's trying to keep civilian casualties to a minimum. Bless you, Jean. Bless you. And then we have the antithesis of Jean. We have Flock. So let's talk about this. So we have Jean. Mikasa just wants Eren to come home. Jean wants to keep casualties at a minimum, which makes perfect sense with Jean's character. Ba-bing. And then Flock. I will say, Jean's time skip looks really good. Jean looks great. I like his... Flock, what the hell does Flock have on his head? His hair looks ridiculous. I don't know if maybe the animation studio hasn't figured out how to animate Flock, because Flock went from having a porcupine on his head to just like a duck wing. It's just, what is happening? But old Flock, we're going to talk about Flock. He says the only thing here are enemies and places they live. Yep. Did you forget how they massacred humanity inside the walls? Again, yes. Yes, they did. And because we didn't know their perspective, this is all hard. It's hard because both sides have done wrong. Both sides have committed heinous acts. So here we are. Here we are in this mess, courtesy of Isayama sensei. But then old Flock here, he says, we were eaten alive, damn it. They've had it coming. Like, this is war, basically. Flock's like, and then Jean's like, are you still saying that? Jean's like, are you still saying this? Are you still going on about this? Like, I thought we've moved beyond. So it sounds like he's like moved beyond the original conflict, which is curious. I am very curious to see Jean's philosophy in all this, because they clearly came to help Eren, right? To help get Eren out of there, because they need to. And I'm going to move this over just a hair. There we go. But then Flock says, look, Eren's telling us something, to fight. And that's when he says it. We shouldn't just wait for our deaths in the walls. Okay, so Flock, Eren is telling us to fight. Okay. We shouldn't wait to die in the walls. Which, is fair. It's fair. He's like, Eren is leading us. He's telling us to fight. We shouldn't wait to die in the walls. You know what? That ties back to the whole thing with, wow, you know what, Flock? It's kind of tying back to what Erwin told you back in episode 16 when he's like, are you just going to wait here for the boulders to crush you, or are you going to stand up and do something? It's kind of funny how far you've come since Erwin's words reached you all those episodes ago. Funny times. So there's that. But then this next line he says, what we need is a devil like him. Oh, really? Really? And at that moment, oh no. Oh no. I was mistaken. In the recap. This just got 1,000 times more interesting, right? Because I thought going into this season that Flock and Eren would be at odds. I was like, no, Eren's all about, because when they had the moment with the Titan and Eren was like, oh, just leave him. He's a fellow patriot and all this. I thought, oh man, Flock is going to have so much beef with Eren. He's going to try to get the military against Eren, blah, blah, blah. No! This is worse. Are Eren and Flock going to become friends? No! I don't like that. No, because that would be... No, what? Because, yeah, he's like, Eren is being exactly what Flock wanted Erwin to become, right? Eren is exactly what Flock wanted Erwin to become. Someone that was going to fight to destroy the other side and be strong and do it. And that's what Eren's doing. And I'm sure Flock doesn't care that it's Eren because Flock didn't like Eren at first. So he's like, fine, if you die, whatever's. But I'm like, did Flock and Eren just become buddies? I don't know how to feel about this. Yeah, what we need is a devil like him. I don't know if I like this. I don't know if I like where this is headed. No. Because then Mikasa, she's like, Eren, do you have any idea what you've done? And I'm like, Eren knows what he's done. He is quite aware. That's the problem with all of this, and we're going to talk about it. I want us to get to the end of this episode. She's like, do you have any idea what you have done? And she still wears a scarf, by the way. Still has a scarf tucked in. Yeah, and he's like, I do know what I've done. She's like, you killed civilians. You've killed children, too. Like, this is, like, remember, back in Shiganshina, that whole thing? She's like, you've done things that can't be undone. And just crying, like, just tears in her eyes. And he just looks like he doesn't care. And he says, Mikasa, it's not over yet. And she's like, impossible, I blew away its Nate. And he's like, I crushed it with all of my strength. So it clearly, and yet it's not dead, which means that it's coming up from somewhere. And then, yeah, it just blew off and she managed to get him. And then that's when he realizes, okay, the Warhammer, it uses hardening to make whatever it needs. Okay. And so that must be why it won't die no matter what we do. So I'm like, will Mikasa meet the Eastern Clan? That'd be great. Mikasa gets attention. If this works, I can eat the Warhammer. Okay. And she's like, okay. But, okay, so yeah, so we're already setting up a conflict here. That Mikasa's like she's telling Eren, you need to have remorse. Like, do you realize what you've done? Yeah. She's like, you've done things you can't take back. There's been civilians and kids killed. Like, you didn't just kill soldiers that were attacking us. Like, these people were innocent. You can't go back to that. Like, do you realize this? And the sad thing is Eren she just stares blankly like he's not even concerned. He's just thinking about beating the Warhammer and eating it. So, it's kind of like, we had Rage Mode Eren that was like, I'm going to kill them all. And someone noted, a commenter noted on YouTube during episode 1, they were like, in episode 2 of season 1, when Eren says, I'm going to kill them all, in the actual translation, he never says the word Titan. He just says, I'm going to kill them all. And now I'm like, oh, that could apply here to the Marleyans. Like, I'm going to kill them all, like everyone else. But, so we had Rage Mode Eren in season 1. We had season 2 Rage Mode Eren, but he was getting slightly self-aware. And then season 3, I really liked Eren's development because we were getting Eren to like fully realize the weight of the situation. But now, I don't know, this new Eren that's come to light in season 4 is kind of like, it's like Rage Mode Eren has become Cold Fury Eren. Like, Eren, the rage is still there, but it's concentrated and quiet, and I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Because of, like, Mikasa implying, she's like, we've set things in motion. We came to rescue you. We didn't really expect to do this assault, but here we are. And you've brought this all on. And Eren's like, yep. And I'm like, ah! So, okay. We're going to talk about this. And this scene at the hospital, and the kid's dead already. Yeah. Aren't you a candidate? Take a look around. And then he leaves. God, and that scene where Colt is just like when Colt's just holding Udo's body to him, like, it's soul crushing. Like, it just goes from this big attack plan to the lives of all these people have been torn upside down, and Udo's just gone. He's just gone. And then he's back, he's just gone there. Yeah. And like, just seeing him on that thing dead is, along with the others that are dead, it's the most heartbreaking thing. Is that, yeah, like, this whole attack, it's changed their whole entire lives, and it's crazy seeing this from the other side. Like, it was really bad seeing it in Shiganshina, but it's really bad seeing it here too. So it's like, I don't feel like celebrating the Levi squad in this episode because of stuff like this happening with Udo. Like, he was a kid. He didn't ask for any of that. He was just going along with the system. And then Colt's like, I'm not sure if there's anywhere safe. Get as far from the plaza as possible. Which is the exact opposite of what Gabi does, by the way. He's like, I'm going to go look for Falco. And Gabi's like, I'm going with you too. And she's like, because I don't understand why Udo and Sophia had to die. And that's an important line that Gabi says. Gabi is going with him not to get revenge in that moment, but because she doesn't understand why they had to die. She's like, I don't get it. Why did this happen? Like, she's not instantly swearing revenge upon Eren and the others, but she's like, I don't understand what's happening. And so she wants to know more, so she's going in there to find Falco. Oh my gosh, Gabi. And then, yeah, Colt's like, oh my God, don't. And then they all go there. And then those two guards, the two internment zone guards, they try to keep her away. They try to turn her away. And they end up dying trying to help her. It's like, it's the most crazy thing. And they're like, you go back home. And that's when Sasha and the others attack them. And yeah, and it's from below. And it's Connie and Sasha. Damn. Ugh. And then he gets shot just right there in the head by Sasha. Because she's the shot. She's the sharpshooter. She has the aim. But then Sasha, she doesn't... Yeah. But Sasha doesn't shoot her because she's a kid. Damn. That shot... That's what made me... And it's just like hell there. Like all the explosions and everything. It's just like hell. Hellfire. It just looks insane. The internment zone is just hell. And Sasha doesn't shoot Gabi because she's a kid. But that shot of Sasha, at that moment I realized, I was like, I don't feel good about the Levi squad being there and about saving Eren, because we've come to know Gabi and Falco and the others, and they've just been attacked, and it's perpetuating the cycle, and I hate it. So yeah. And then Connie's growing his, and she's like, did you forget about the lights? So the lights are important. There's something to do with the lights. Oh, right. Did you forget about the lights? So they've put up lights somewhere, and I don't know why. I'm guessing we're going to find out next episode. But Connie and Sasha leave with the lights, and Gabi makes the decision to take his gun and go. Like, she's just how mad she gets. I don't blame her. She takes the gun and is going that way. And so then Connie and Sasha go back. We stalled the reinforcements, and they said the lights, they're all in place. Okay, so for the time being, things are going on. So I'm curious about the lights. I'm wondering if it has something to do with the Colossal Titan, like seeing the area, if there's something going on, or if they're planning like a big explosion, like what's going to happen. Oh man. Okay. And then, yeah, Mikasa fighting the Warhammer Titan with the sword and everything, just pulling up all the stops, having it, again, the design, so freaking cool. As long as we take that thing out in time. And it's very animalistic, like the way it's all hunched over. Like it looks like, it reminds me of like a ring wraith from Lord of the Rings, the way it's all hunched over. And like it just needs a cloak over it and it'd be like a Dementor. You know? Just so creepy. And then Jean's like, who knows? Anything can happen at this point. And I can't believe like Connie and Sasha have all grown up. And I want to be happy for them, but I'm like, guys, Gabi and Falco. No, yeah. And Mikasa just using the thunder spears to blow that damn leg off. And then Jean says, what's to come when this battle is over? For us to know we have to survive. Okay, so Jean doesn't even know what the outcome will bring. So basically, I'm going to put Eren over here. Eren basically lured the Survey Corps there to Marley. Essentially, Eren just lured them there. He was like, hey guys, I'm leaving Parody. I'm going to Marley to scale a massive assault on the capital. Probably will die. YOLO. So, see ya. And they're like, no! I feel like Eren just went solo just to do this trip. And because he's like, I'm the founding titan, I guess you'll come or I guess we'll all die. And they're like, damn it, Eren. So they all came to rescue him, to save him. And the only way for them to do that is for them to ensure that Eren's mission gets over. So Eren kind of has them all by the balls. And Mikasa's not happy about it because she's like, what are you doing? Why are you killing people? Jean wants to keep casualties at a minimum because he's not happy about this. Flock is like, let's just blow the place up. Flock is like, let's just raze it to the ground. I'm like, what is happening? And Connie and Sasha, we don't know their viewpoints on this. Oh my God. And then, yeah, so Mikasa trying to just battle, which Mikasa battling this Warhammer Titan is pretty badass. I love that Mikasa can hold her own against this Titan. And the animation on it. Some people were complaining, you guys said in the comments, about the animation with the Titans. Who? Who's complaining? This is gorgeous. Like the animation, like it's so fluid how it moves. It's like a ballet dancer. It's so, I'm like, if anybody complained about the animation with the War Titan, I know it's CGI. It doesn't look CGI. I'm like, I'm sorry. But I watched Bertolt in seasons 1 and 2 and 3 of them doing it. And I love Wit Studio. They did amazing. I love the animation that Wit Studio did. But none of y'all complained during that I know of. So this looks great. I'm just going to note that. I have no qualms with the animation in this show. And maybe it's because I have the Blu-ray version. Maybe that's it. But I have no qualms. I think it looks great. But yeah, and Mikasa just luring it as it goes. And then so the the Warhammer Titan is on the ground, and there's all the threads of its armor coming up to do it. And then that's when Eren says something felt off. It didn't seem right how the Warhammer appeared. And you see that my hand like blocks it. You see that the lines of its body are going from its foot. Yeah, it appeared from the body formed from the feet up, not like from the heart or anything or from the brain. It was from the feet up. Because like when Ymir formed, it was like from the chest out and from the nape out. Its body formed from the feet up because the nape's underground. Yep. But from underneath the stage. You bet. You betcha. And then that's when Eren's like, oh, so that's where its body is. Okay. And that's probably that look of Eren looking down. It's probably the most Eren that I've seen him look. And then he just jettisons himself off the building, like, and transforms into a Titan, like, be damned, I found you. And rips her up, like, just a radish out of the ground. And that's when Magath notices that that's it. And the moment he snaps the umbilical cord there, that's when the Warhammer Titan, oh God, just dies. Okay. Man. But they're not going to make it this easy for him. They're not going to make it easy. I'm like, can he eat through all that crystal? And so then everybody is watching. Oh, who's that person with the short haircut? Who's that person? We don't know them. We see Jean. We see, that can't be Historia. Right? Historia wouldn't travel there, right? Right? There's a woman with short blonde hair, but I'm like, that couldn't be Historia. There's no way she would travel. The queen would not travel to the middle of a war zone, right? I don't know. And then, yeah. And that's when Galliard, I love that shot. That's such a surprise. And you almost root for him in the moment because you're like, Eren's going to eat the Warhammer, and you almost root for him. But then, Galliard, I've been waiting for this moment. I'm retaking the Founding Titan, which wasn't the plan. Galliard being greedy. I'm going to put him down here. Old Galliard being greedy. Thinking that he was going to retake the Warhammer. He was going to retake the Founding. Okay. Sure you are. And he goes for it. He goes for it with the jaw and everything. But that's, yeah, and Mikasa going in, but oh, honey. You know what? As bad as I felt for everybody against the Levi squad this episode, it's Levi Ackerman, and this show knows. Isayama knows. They know. And you know what is the best part? He slices the jaw. He can't bite because the jaw was cut off. He kept the Survey Corps coat. Levi kept the Survey Corps coat. Because he's the OG. He kept his little Survey Corps coat. I want to thank for Erwin. I want to thank God. I love it. Is that Ackerman? Yeah, it is. It is. It really is. Mm-hmm. He has his little survey coat. And then, yeah, Eren just shoves him off. Shoves Galliard off. Grabs him by the freaking hair. And then here we go. Oh. So wait, what did he just do? I want to backtrack that a little bit. Because Eren went to grab, he cut his arm, but Galliard got away. And then the Thunder Spear kept him from leaping on the building. Okay. And then Galliard's on the ground. And then, so what we going to do now? And then this line here, where he says, "You're kidding." Galliard's like, "Can't you see I'm a Titan?" Uh-huh. And the line here is very odd, where he's like, "These guys are just humans, and yet they're coming to kill me." I'm like, yeah. And they're not humans, they're Eldians. They're Eldians, they're like you. So that's the crazy part of this, where he's like, "These are just humans." I'm like, no, they're Eldians like you. And this is the resolve of parody. And yeah, they're not scared of a Titan. Because that's the thing, all the Marleyans, they all kind of cower in fear at the power of the Titans themselves. But this is the Levi squad. This is what they do for a living. They've fought Titans their whole lives. They're not scared of them. And it's like, okay, you know. And then I want to see who was coming in for that assault. It looked like it was Connie and Mikasa, and I don't know who the other two were. But yeah. And there's a whole bunch of them flying in the air. I love that shot of all of them flying on the lights with the ropes and everything. It's crazy. These guys, they're the devils of parody. And Levi. So if this has been 4 or 5 years, Levi's probably in his late 30s now. Probably. Yeah. The devils of parody. Uh-huh. Okay. And that's the episode. Oh my god. So yeah, we don't know. We're assuming Kart's getting her gear. So Kart's going to be coming in there. We don't know about the Beast Titan. Where's he been in all this? I'm assuming we'll find out next episode. I was really surprised we didn't find out earlier, but we haven't. And then Armin is conveniently staying outside. I feel like Armin is going to be their getaway. Armin is going to be their escape plan. Armin lured Peak and Galliard away and then conveniently tucked out of sight, old Beardy, because I think Armin is going to be the escape. And Reiner, oh my god, Reiner is going to be heartbroken. Reiner is going to be heartbroken when he finds out Zofia and Udo are dead. He is going to be heartbroken. If something happens to Gabi, it's going to be the end of it. Oh my god. Because he just wanted to protect those kids. So, here's my problem in all of this. This is my problem, okay? This is my problem. Eren has essentially lured the Survey Corps to Marley and gotten this whole thing stirred up. Eren has stirred the pot, essentially. Which, for the record, I don't want to sound like it's weird because I don't want to defend. It's hard because you want to defend Marley and you want to defend not necessarily Marley, but you want to defend Gabi and Falco and Colt and the Eldians on Marley that don't have a choice in all of this, right? So on the one hand, this is so complicated, and it of course it is because it's Isayama. So, but here's my thing. Yes. If there had not been an initial attack on Marley, then Parody would have been attacked, right? They would have been attacked. It probably would not have gone well, and there would have been casualties on either side of the gate, right? But because of what Eren has done, he has attracted the world attention, the world against Parody. Because here's the thing, what would have... This is the part that gets confusing for me, because I'm trying to figure out Eren's whole deal, like what Eren's plan is. Don't spoil me, because I know I'm going to find out. But I'm trying to think like, okay, Eren, you're an antagonist for sure at this point against the world, but are you an antagonist against Parody too? Because here's the deal, is Eren an antagonist against everybody? Because here's the thing, this is the problem. Yes, let's say what if there had not been an attack, if Eren had not attacked Willy during this episode and the episode before. Let's say there had not been an attack, okay? And let's say that Marley's forces came to Parody. Let's say that they sent the Titans over. I'm like, you have these advanced Thunder Spears now and all this other stuff. Couldn't you have done like what you did with Bertolt and kidnapped those Titans and gained the powers yourselves and waited till they came over to Parody to attack them there? Because like Reiner said in the previous episodes, there's really only one distinct way to attack Parody. Because their port is only in the south, they really have to go to the south to attack the island. And they don't even know if that port's still there. So they were really, had they gone to Parody, the island itself, it would have been a lot more difficult for Marley. And then if, let's say that they went to Parody and Eren and the Survey Corps won, then that would have sent a statement to the rest of the world that Parody's not to be messed with. And they probably could have bought them some more time to be fine and at peace. But I don't know that. You don't know that though. But my thing of it is, by Eren attacking directly with all the VIPs there and all the Marleyan government, it's spurning them to action. It's spurning them to attack Parody much faster and to go after Levi. So I'm like, what do you think's going to happen, Eren? They're now going to send everything against Parody to wipe them out. Does Eren want that? Does Eren want them all to die? Is that the goal? Does he want all the Eldians to die? Because when he was at the sea looking out across the ocean and he seems so like empty and a shell of himself, he was like, well, there's all our enemies across the sea. If we destroy all of them, will we be free? And it was a rhetorical question. The answer is no. That's not going to win you freedom. Destroying your enemies isn't going to win you freedom. And I thought that Eren had realized that in the moment, and that's why he was asking Armin and Mikasa the question, was because he was like, okay, I thought that getting to this ocean, getting rid of the forces that would keep me here, away from the ocean, would mean my freedom. But it doesn't. It's just another wall. The ocean is another wall to get through, and beyond that are more walls. So but Eren has the attack titan, and it's almost like, is there the will of the attack titan, right? We talked about the founding titan's will. Is there a will of the attack titan that no matter what, because Kruger even said the founding titan is always moving forward and attacking its enemies, always moving towards freedom. So is the attack titan guiding Eren and making him do these things? Is the attack titan part of it, that it's driving him forward and making him pursue this freedom by wiping out everybody in his path? Is that the case? So, I feel like part of it is, because I feel like, I'm like, Eren, you are just going to get the entire world to want to kill every Eldian. And if that's his goal, if he's like, we all deserve, if it's like a weird merging of the founding titan and the attack titan. The attack titan's like, well, we kill everybody to be free. If there's nobody else to stop us, then we'll be free. And the founding titan's like, well, we'll just let anybody kill us because we deserve it. So, I'm like, is that the merger? That's like a terrible combination. Because it sounds like Eren just wants Parody to get attacked. He wants everybody to get wiped out. So then it won't happen anymore. Because, yeah, your options are either all the Eldians die, all of humanity and everybody else except the Eldians die, or you create a dialogue. And what Eren's doing right now is not creating the dialogue. No. And that's what surprises me the most. I figured Eren would want him and Reiner to team up to try to break the cycle, but Eren's just perpetuating it. So it's weird. I figured Eren in this season would be trying, based on how he acted in the last season, and realized the cycle and realized how corrupted it was and how it was just a cycle, an endless, wheel turning. I figured Eren would want to stop the wheel. And maybe him having all the Eldians die is his version of stopping the wheel, but it's problematic. I just didn't think he'd be... This seems like it's just perpetuating the cycle, because now Gabi's pissed off. Now Falco is going to have this resolve. Now I'm like... I feel like the worst case scenario is, and what I'm afraid of, is that Gabi and Falco are going to be corrupted and are going to just perpetuate the cycle like Reiner and the others. That's what I'm afraid of. Because Falco's been such a pure character in all this that I'm afraid that Falco is going to be corrupted. And now he's going to fall in line with the system. Like, he was trying to break away from it. He didn't want any more war. And now I feel like Falco is going to be thrust into the war, whether he likes it or not. And he's just going to go along with it out of a sense of revenge for his friends. And if Colt dies in all of this, I feel like it's going to be the same thing. We still haven't seen the Beast Titan, right? And so I'm curious if Eren knows that he needs to get the Beast Titan to have his powers work. And I wonder if that's the case and what's going to happen with the Beast Titan next. But I don't know how to feel. I don't know how to feel. This episode made me... I felt bad for Gabi and the others. I felt bad for them. I actually felt bad for Willy. I felt bad that he died because he turned out to be not... I liked him more than Rod Reese. I was like, damn. And now we have the question of what is going to happen when all this is over? Because that's the big question. How are they getting out of this? Because I'm assuming that Peak is going to show up next episode. I don't know where Zeke is, so we don't know about that. He's not with Levi, because Levi is here. So I don't know if Zeke was just, like, what has happened with Zeke. I feel like Armin is in the wings waiting, because he's the Colossal Titan. He's hiding because he's important, and they don't want to take him out, right? So I feel like that's the case. Or maybe Armin refuses to become the Colossal Titan. Maybe he's refusing to transform. Who knows? So next episode, Gabi is off, headed to find Falco. Falco's probably with Reiner. I'm going to guess that Reiner protected Falco with his body because he's a pure soul. And Reiner's going to be pissed. And Reiner's going to try to do something. But Reiner's screwed because the moment they find out that he was talking with Eren, it's all over for Reiner. So I don't know how to feel about that. I just... It would be really cool. It would be cool just from a symbolic aspect if Reiner does get out of the rubble and save Falco and like gives Falco and Gabi to Colt and is like, get out of here. And if Reiner transforms into the Armored Titan, faces down Eren, and then at the last moment to escape all of them, then Armin transforms into the Colossal Titan and moves them all out of the way so that he can get them all out of there. But my question is, where are they going? Like, where are they traveling to? Where do they have a secret base somewhere? Are they going back to Parody? How are they doing this? Do they have a ship ready? How are they getting off the island? Are they getting off the island? How are they getting off Marley? Are they leaving Marley? Are they going to stay there? There's so many questions, right? What's going on in I feel like at some point we're going to have to backtrack to find out what was happening in Parody those 4 years. We're going to have to backtrack at some point and get some backstory of what's been going on. Because Eren's showing up here, it seems like Mikasa and John and them did not plan on him coming here in the first place. And Eren's just like, I'm the Attack Titan, peace up, bye. And then just left and went to Marley. And they've just been trying to keep up and catch him ever since. And then Flock's whole deal, I'm like, I have a feeling Flock and Armin aren't besties like him and Eren seem to be. I feel like that's not the case. But I don't know, maybe Flock and Eren aren't besties, but the fact of Flock being like, we need a devil like Eren, oh my god. That's been like the biggest development of all this. I thought Flock and Eren would be enemies in all of this. No, it's even worse than I imagined. It's like when your friend has a toxic friend that you don't want them to be friends with, and you're like, why are you friends with them? No, they're a bad influence. Don't do that. I feel like Eren, that's Flock for Eren. I'm like, Eren, he's a toxic friend. Don't let him become friends with you. No, he'll lead you down the path of darkness. And then Mikasa's worried about Eren. Of course she's worried about him, but especially now. I need to know what's happened in the last 4 years with Parody, and I feel like maybe we'll get like one episode recapping all of that for us, kind of like what episode 3 did in Reiner's backstory. We'll get like an episode of recap with them, maybe, and then, or maybe it'll just come in spurts. But it would be really cool if Armin's the one that helps them all get away. The question is Eren going to eat the Warhammer or not? If Eren eats the Warhammer, that's huge. That's going to be the biggest blow to Marley. If their Titan is eaten by Eren, that's going to be a problem. I don't know if they'll make Eren that OP though. I don't know if that's going to happen, because that would make, if Eren had the power of the Warhammer on top of the Attack Titan and on top of the Founding Titan, that's kind of insane. He'd kind of be OP, right? Right? Because the Warhammer seems like the defense of Marley, if worse comes to worse. I did not get good vibes from this episode. Let me tell you that. Lots of dread, lots of sadness, lots of death. And I don't feel like it's going to get any better. That's the problem, because we're in war now, and it's all heartbreaking, and it's hard for me to pick sides, I'll be honest. I need more context with what Parody's been doing, but I still love the Levi squad, and I don't want anything bad to happen to them. But I've come to love Gabi and Falco too, so Isayama, why are you doing this to us? It's horrible. So yeah. Welcome to season 4, right? But yeah, I'm very curious. This isn't as long of a discussion. How long have I been talking? I don't feel like it's been... Okay, so about an hour and 40 minutes. It's not... This is probably the shortest discussion of the season so far, which is crazy because it's like one of the most insane episodes. But I don't know really what else to say other than I feel like McGaff has a bigger part in all of this. I feel like he's going to become the commander after all this is said and done. The world is now against Parody, so whatever that's going to look like is terrifying. Eren clearly has a plan to get the Founding Titan powers to activate. I think it's through Zeke. The question is, how is that going to happen? And then, what do we do about the Warhammer Titan? What do we do about Galliard? What do we do about all of this? About Reiner, the Armored Titan, Gabi and Falco. I can't believe Udo and Zofia are dead. This episode drained me. I watched 2 episodes back to back, and again, terrible idea. And part of me is like, I'm so hyped that I want to see episode 7, but I'm like, no, I've watched 2 episodes in a row. That's a terrible idea. I don't need to do that. I need to take some days off and let myself calm down and let it all soak in and maybe watch the episode again. But I'll be honest, this episode is probably one of my favorite of the season, but I think it's one that I will rewatch less because it's so sad and I don't like it. So I don't know how to feel about that. But yeah, Eren is conflicting with me. I have conflicting thoughts with Eren. I'm like, Eren, what are we doing, buddy? What is your plan here? And don't spoil me. I know it's going to come out in the wash later. Don't spoil me. But I'm like, at the moment, I'm so conflicted and torn with Eren. I'm kind of like Mikasa right now. I'm kind of like, what are you doing? Why did you do this? And so I'm kind of in the Mikasa Jean camp right now. And that's concerning. So there. But I'm very curious to know your thoughts down below, what you all thought of this episode. Obviously, please do not spoil me, but I'm so curious. Like, every time Flock comes up, we gotta have a conversation. I love ragging on Flock, and now I'm like, well, shit. So, we'll see what happens. But in the meantime, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, I'll be back next week or in a few days with episode 7 of season 4, part 1 of Attack on Titan. Bye.